Hi, I'm Theo Bleak and I'm a Scottish artist. It is currently the 27th of May 2024. I grew up in Blairgowrie, which is a small town in Perthshire in Scotland, but I later moved to Dundee when I was about 9 years old. I took this move really badly because I loved my hometown and the countryside and the feeling of home. I was quite a lonely, sensitive child, and that hasn't really changed as I've got older. I definitely spent a lot of time thinking deeply about life and why we were here, and I remember kind of having those thoughts even when I was really young. This has become a large part of my lyrical content and the general sonic aura of my project. I reflect a lot on that sort of phenomenological experience and childhood and why I'm so fixated on the nostalgia of home and why that time meant so much to me, and I've never really been able to replace it or find it in anything else. I was lucky that my mum and dad were huge music lovers and I always grew up listening to music. I remember being taken to shows on school nights and things, which I always thought was super cool. My influences are so wide-ranging because music's always been such a huge part of my life. And for a long time I fixated more on musical theatre and classical, and that was kind of what I wanted to do, even though alternative music had always been, played at home. But obviously at some point I erred more into my own original compositions and my own projects, and I guess now I make a sort of gloomy folk rock sort of sound, I guess. Jeff Buckley is my all-time favourite. Grace, I think, is a masterpiece, and I think it takes some of its parts for me to really love an artist. They have to, see life on a deeper level in some way for me to really understand their music and what they're trying to say. Scotland has so many amazing artists which have came from it, and one of the best in my opinion is Liz Fraser of the Cocteau Twins. I think she's one of the most novel vocalists I've ever heard, and it's definitely influenced my own vocals. More recently I've been very impressed by the producer Mike Gordon. He does a lot of things for Dijon or works collaboratively, with Dijon and his own project McGee. But I think it's one of the most novel production sounds I've heard in a long time, and I've definitely taken from that in some regard about how things sound in a room and how to create like a realness and rawness. So production has definitely become a larger priority for me than it maybe used to. Recently I've been focusing on making music to capture the time of my life I'm in and trying to release that not long after whatever event has happened. I think as songwriters and artists, it's our job to capture society as it is in that moment and to keep a written record of what's been happening in the world, either on an individual or, more global aspect, I guess. So yeah, I guess just focusing on recordings and getting them out. There's so many challenges to being a musician, but I think for me the biggest thing I've faced is finding people who don't make me feel misunderstood. I spent a lot of time justifying and defending myself over the last couple of years, and I have found that extremely taxing and exhausting. Not everyone is going to like your music, and that's absolutely fine. It's not really why I do it anymore anyway, but I think being surrounded by people that have similar outlooks to the industry and to the world is really, really important, and I've got that wrong many times. If I could give myself, my younger self and my current self advice, it would be just to trust my sort of inner feeling about decisions and people I think I often want to believe, something that's maybe not reality. So it's just trusting myself more and my own artistic vision more. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm not sure if I've ever done anything super unconventional surrounding the way I make music, but I definitely am no stranger to, scrapping things if they're not right and going back to square one, trying things, learning things later on in life. I didn't learn guitar till I was 27. And I'm okay to not get it right first time. So that's something I'm sitting with more now, that it's like if I've put 2 weeks of work into something but it's not right, then it's not right. That's the end of it. It's not getting released or used. I have a long-term collaborator, Mark, though, and we just have a very good way of knowing when things are not serving the song or serving the overarching project. I often write lyrics or the main theme of the song or the main structure of the song, and again I'll work on that and to develop it with Mark. But a lot of it's pretty unspoken, like we just kind of know if something is right or wrong. The whole process feels pretty mentally internalized, I guess. It's just about the feeling of the song. And transferring that to live can be a challenge, but I've definitely changed my philosophy on that recently, where it doesn't need to be a perfect replication of the recording. It just has to feel raw and real and be played live, and that may sound slightly different if I don't have the means to fully facilitate all the instruments I've put on a record. But live is a really big thing for us as a band, and I think that's where we connect most with people, so I always look forward to that process. It's hard to say what the best reaction I've had is. I mean, it's so subjective, and people often will say things that maybe they don't really mean, so it's hard to know if people like it or love it, and that's okay if people don't as well. I actually love when I get bad reviews, because I feel like at least it's a pretty novel opinion. It's like an opinion, like it's been considered, because I don't think I've done anything that's a masterpiece yet, and I don't think I'm even near to that, or if I ever will be. So I like people challenging my work a lot, and it makes me want to do better at capturing what I'm trying to say. But for me, I guess I knew someone that would listen to my music every night before going to sleep, and they were having a hard time, and I thought, well, that one incident alone is worth making it. I just want people to relate to the songs, and maybe I can capture some difficult concepts. I like these strange feelings that we all have but are hard to put into words. Like I want to capture that with my sound. But yeah, people don't need to like it. We're not for everyone, I'm sure, but I just want to be respected, I think, from people. That's really my only thing. Thank you so much for having me to chat. If anyone wants to stay in touch, it's just Theo Bleak pretty much on whatever you use to listen to music. We're just touring a lot this year. It's so all over the place, so just to keep an eye on anything that we're up to. But I would say expect quite a lot of releases this year. So yeah, it's been lovely to chat, and I'll hopefully hear from you soon.